Talking about big things, November 4 is a very big day for the NPP. So that's tomorrow. Today's November 3. Tomorrow is November 4. They are electing their flag bearer. And Richard and Godfrey, this morning, all the papers had a different angles, but the bottom line is that tomorrow the NPP is finally choosing the person who will lead them into the 2024 elections. And I get the sense that after tomorrow, a lot of the general chit-chat will now zone into the specifics, because now the NDC know who's leading them. The NPP will know. And I get the sense now we'll be seeing a bit more frontal attack. So John Mahama will fire his salvo towards whoever it is the NPP chooses, and it will go the other way. But we have 4 men. Mm-hmm. So we started with a lot.
Yes.
Now we have 4.
Yeah. So you have Mr. Francis Adainimo, former of Parliament, Dr. Usefri Akuto, former Minister of State. You have Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the current Vice President of the Republic, and Mr. Kennedy Ohinejapon, a sitting Member of Parliament, who have entered the race. Should have been 5, but 1 withdrew. Mm-hmm. That is Mr. Alanche Martin, a.k.a. Mr. Butterfly, doing his own thing. And for me, the most interesting angle that I'll take this one is the Herald's front page.
The Herald's front page.
Yes. And not on the tight grip, but as to the new face for the NPP tomorrow. In terms of tomorrow, the party leaves Akufo-Addo's hands, basically, and finds a new hand.
I see.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you've listened to my analysis of the NPP situation over the past year, I've spoken to you about the leadership gap that they face. And it's something that they hope tomorrow will address, because the kind of person who becomes flag bearer tomorrow basically takes over the running of the party. You know, and not in terms of running the party, but
not the administrative side,
but basically becomes the most powerful person in the party, gives them a sense of direction, give a sense of leadership to a party that is sorely lacking it at the moment, although it is in government. You know, so that for me is 1. 2 is the moves by the party to keep everybody within the flock. Irrespective of how the results go. And I guess those are parts of the lessons from the Superdelegates Conference. And so you had their election committee chaired by Professor Aaron Michael Quay, where the aspirants have signed an MOU that they will utilize the party's dispute resolution measures to settle all grievances that they may have, and that nobody will walk away. And, you know, this is, again, because of what I've explained. The party is a bit fragile right now. And so they wouldn't want it to become even more fragile with a year going into an election. And so this bond has been put in place. Although I disagree with the principle of it, because it's a democracy. If I'm entering an election and I want to walk after, if I feel the process didn't fit me, or I feel like I want to leave, let me leave, you know. And anyway, how is this going to be enforced? I can still sign the bond and leave. Yes, it'll be a sign of bad faith,
but
and all that.
But a man's word is his bond.
That's what I'm saying. That I can sign the bond, but let's also be real. When did we start taking the words of politicians?
No, but I mean, we should. I mean, a man should be honorable enough to keep his word.
I'm just saying. But when did we start taking the words of politicians? So
don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm just saying. So there is that, and if you take the comments of the person who heads the Council of Elders of the party, who spoke about the party being at its weakest now because of the disunity that is in the party, the infighting that is in the party at the moment. It tells you that there is a certain cloud, and there are problems that they are trying to solve, and hope that post tomorrow those things will not be exacerbated. They're trying to create a control around that situation, and then pray that whoever emerges tomorrow then takes the party forward and strengthens it, unifies the party. I will go into who is who of what, but I think you kind of do a report.
Yes, we'll give you a couple of voices. I think the first one we'll play will be something that gives life to what you just said concerning the party's weakening. That's Hackman Osajima. We'll play his voice in a second.
Okay.
And then we'll talk a bit more about all the other side issues. Let's listen to the chairman of the National Council of Elders of the New Patriotic Party, Hackman Osajima, and that's what Godfred was referring to. He talks about the NPP's current status as one being potentially weakened. And he said he observed this during a meeting with the 4 candidates and the elections committee, and they want to look at the disunity arising from the campaigns of these candidates. And Hackman Osajima says the party's objective to secure an 8th term could be in jeopardy if the party's unity is not prioritized.
Unity in diversity, therefore, suggests a happy equilibrium or harmony between these seeming dichotomies spanning the group up to the national level. Fellow patriots, taking a deeper look at our party today, I see a party which may be weaker by our attitude, our utterances, and our disrespect for each other, as well as lack of discipline. I see a party sometimes with disputes and difficulties and acrimony. I see a party where members are refusing to work together for a common goal. We have allowed our personal selfish interests to override the common good. I am not pointing fingers at any one of us. Maybe we are all responsible. Fellow patriots, it becomes clear that some deep rifts, personal interests, and bitter political resentment might have reared their ugly heads, especially among all the presidential aspirants and their supporters. Deep divides have emerged over the past few weeks within the party, which nobody but ourselves can manage to reconcile. Fellow patriots, after the few weeks of breathless campaign coverage, we can finally move on from the intrigues that have been eaten up and apportioned to our lives due to negative media attention. Before moving on completely, though, it will be worthwhile to pause and examine what the ugly noises, courtesy Mr. J.B. Darocha, revealed about the NPP and what we need to do. Party unity is a necessary condition for the NPP to win the presidential election. No candidate can win elections without it. Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, whether or not NPP capable of breaking the 8 depends chiefly on one question: what we can do to swallow our pride and egos and work together towards a common goal despite our differences in opinion.
So that was the chairman of the National Council of Elders of the New Patriotic Party, Hackman Osajima. He was just talking about party unity and the need to stay together even after tomorrow, because there will be people who will be upset by the outcome. There will be others who will be upset by how things will play out. And if the superdelegates thing is anything to go by, there will be few people who are unhappy. On the theme of being unhappy, the camps of 2 flag-bearer hopefuls, Dr. Baumia and Kennedy Ajapong, have been engaged in the exchange of words over alleged inducement of delegates. Now, while Kennedy Ajapong insists that some delegates like constituency executives and MPs have been given 100,000 cedis, Dr. Baumia claims these allegations are in reaction to the fear of defeat. Now, it's a few days, so tomorrow, so, the event's happening tomorrow. We put together a report just looking at the campaign strategies of the 4 gentlemen who have made it this far. And then when we are done, we'll analyze and have some more discussion on that.
The 4 candidates, in accordance with their appearance on the ballot paper for November 4, are Kennedy Ajapong, Dr. Mahamudu Baumia, Dr. Usuefri Akoto, and Francis Adainimo. The 4 are seeking the mandate from over 200,000 delegates after some 900 delegates whittled down the number of candidates on August 26. The November 4 polls appears to be a 2-horse race between Dr. Mahamudu Baumia and Kennedy Ajapong. This has been evident in the intensity of the campaigns between the two and the messaging from camps of both sides. All 4 candidates, however, as part of their campaign strategies, have taken trips across the country. Kennedy Ajapong's campaign, for instance, tells Citi News that the Asin Central Member of Parliament has so far visited all 275 constituencies in the country.
We've been very busy. We just completed the 3 northern regions which were outstanding. So far we've gone through almost, let me say, every constituency in the country.
Equally has the Vice President's team visited most constituencies, with Dr. Bawumia currently in the northern region. Dr. Usuefri Akoto's team has also resumed its campaign after suspending same following the demise of the wife of former President Kufuor.
The Honorable Dr. Usuefri Akoto campaign is ongoing in earnest. And actually, as I speak to you now, I'm in Sunyani now. And we've covered the Ahafo and Bono areas. We have been engaging at the polling station level and the electoral area level, because that is what Dr. Usuefri's campaign is all about.
Observed from afar, the Vice President's team appears to have captured the top echelon of the party to its side. This is evident in how constituency executives always endorse his candidature when he makes a stop in their constituencies.
Brekum East is no-go area for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Nyameya Dum, November 4th, Yakoko Tuabana, I can assure you of not less than 80% of the votes.
Kennedy Ohine Japan, who claims to have the support of the grassroots delegates, including polling station and electoral executives, has accused the Vice President's team of inducing the constituency executives and MPs with monies and goodies.
In Ashanti region, one of the chairmen, he got Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. Some got as high as 150,000. In Central region, some chairman got Toyota Nissan Navara, brand new, and it cost 40,000. When you convert it, it's 440,000 Ghana cedis. And now, you are going to vote with all these people, and they will come and give you 2,000 cedis.
The Vice President on his campaign trips has, however, attempted to debunk these claims, explaining that it is only a tactic deployed by his detractors after sensing an impending defeat.
The way the results of the superdelegates came, many of our opponents are confused, and they are seeing looming defeat on November 4th. And because of that, they've decided to adopt some new tactics. The new tactics is what? If you miss the ball, don't miss the man. That is the new tactics that they are adopting. And so, what is the tactic? They have decided to spread lies and to bring disunity amongst us and to create problems between chairmen and constituency executives with polling station executives and electoral area coordinators. They want to knock our heads together. So they have come with different lies. I'm hearing a lie every day as I am sitting down and watching what they are saying. They say I've given all constituency chairmen, 275 constituency chairmen, 100,000 Ghana cedis and a pickup. Have you seen any pickup here for your chairman?
But the campaign team of Mr. Kennedy Ohine Japan, who appear disappointed at the actions of some MPs and ministers, says it will campaign against some of these MPs to lose their seats.
If we get a chance to win most of these MPs, and will be cleaned up.
Cleaned up?
And we will we will campaign against them.
All those who didn't support you?
Of course, Papa Nyeri, Abone Nyeri.
For Dr. Usuefri Akoto's team, they have not been interested in inducing delegates, as they are campaigning as though it is the national election where it is impossible to induce all Ghanaian voters.
Team presents. Dr. Usuefri Akoto is an embodiment of humility, loyalty, long suffrage, and commitment to our party and our tradition. You see, and so we don't need at all to do vote buying.
The candidates have been explaining to delegates why they are the best to lead the new patriotic party into the 2024 elections. Kennedy Ohene Japan continues to trumpet his capacity to deliver jobs for Ghanaians.
You can be a good farmer, you can be a good businessman. Why don't you ask him the same place what you can do and only ask for certificate? If you vote for me, no certificate, NPP.
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, on the other hand, says he has the ability to win more votes in the NDC strongholds, which will be key in delivering victory for the NPP in 2024. Dr. Usuofri Akoto's team, however, says his role as Minister of Agriculture will do the trick for him. Francis Adainimo says he is the right person to break the 8 as he has not been in government for the past 7 years and will come as a refreshing personality for the Break the 8 agenda.
So that was a Citi news report filed by Hansen Ajiman but read by Nana Tufo Boateng. Just looking at the campaign strategies of the 4 finalists. So just when
finalists.
the hopefuls.
Sounds like a quiz.
Yeah, sounds like a quiz. The hopefuls. They started off, and then we went through the super delegates. 10 became 5, 5 became 4, and we are here. Okay. And tomorrow there will be only 1.
Okay.
Tomorrow the rest of the Highland down.
Well, the thing for me is this. Look, for most people, it comes down to a race between 2 people.
Okay.
Kennedy Japan and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Dr. Usuofri Akoto, Mr. Francis Adainimo have run interesting campaigns. I think Mr. Adainimo has run a very low-key campaign focused on just dealing with the delegates, hasn't really engaged with the media as much.
Budget.
And spoken significantly about what his leadership will bring to the NPP and its members. Dr. Usuofri Akoto has also spent a lot of time talking about that. He's spoken about how he will re-energize business and work for NPP members. And we must always take cognizance of the fact that they are campaigning to their delegates.
Okay.
Now, it's not a national election yet. So most of the things they say are looking at wooing their delegates as to why they should become leader of the party, which is why I'm saying this is a pretty important election for the NPP, because it's not just about, it's about who takes over the party. So what does that person bring? It's not just to the national table of the election, but to the party itself. So you've heard a lot of that in how they've campaigned. In fact, Bawumia, Kennedy Ohene Japan, Dr. Usuofri Akoto, and Francis Adainimo have spent significant amount of time talking about how they will find time to re-energize the rank and file of the party with jobs, how the party can fund itself properly, strategies in that line. So pretty interesting. But down again to the bolts and nuts of this straight fight between Kennedy Ohene Japan and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Bawumia, of course, being looked at as the front runner for this by several platforms and people who have looked at this and who have looked at the numbers. Again, for delegates, the consideration will be who is able to lead this party, who's able to win an election. Okay, that which is why it makes Kennedy Ohene Japan such an interesting candidate for this, because came out of nowhere, has enjoyed significant momentum. The momentum went down a bit, I think, in September.
Yeah.
But October, early parts of October, tapered off again, and then picked up again up until now. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia also started off pretty slow, but he's been steamrolling through the country, trying to engage with delegates to try and convince them about his worth. Again, spoken about the fact that he's the one with leadership experience, governance experience. He's the best known face, the most marketable face that the party has. And so he deserves that opportunity to lead the NPP candidate. I've also spoken about the fact that, look, we've had too many people who talk too much, who have you, in fact, the voice clip that we played spoke about, look, certificates, not your doors, so look, let's just get people who work and let's get the job done. So he's come at this from the position of a very pragmatic, everyday person,
qualified
selling
by experience. That's what
yes,
he calls
of
himself.
course, yes, very pragmatic, everyday businessman who has plans that will. He doesn't want to complicate things for people, according to his campaign. As to how well that will be bought by delegates tomorrow, again, time will tell. But it looks like the most important thing for those who assume that Bawumia or who predict Dr. Bawumia will win is by what margin he will win, and whether he gets that 50+1 or the 50% that is required to win outright and avoid the next phase of the election. People also look at the kind of performance that Kennedy Ohene Japan puts up and read different meanings to it. So here's the thing: if Dr. Bawumia doesn't win by a healthy margin, what does it say?
Okay.
If Kennedy doesn't win by doesn't perform as well as people expect him to perform, what does it say?
I see.
Okay, there'll be different interpretations to this, but in the end, what the NPP is interested in tomorrow and what they need tomorrow is somebody who emerges and is able to put the party together, not break the accord that they have gone to sign, and most importantly, give the party some momentum ahead of the 2024 elections. So I will limit my analysis to just that at the moment. I think that post tomorrow, then we can go into different things, because here's the thing. The campaign Kennedy has run, for instance, has been interesting for me in highlighting the weaknesses of Dr. Bawumia as a national candidate.
I see.
Okay. Well, he has spoken about how his plans for the economy have not worked, how he's responsible for so many things that have not worked in the economy, and the fact that it will be a political disadvantage to have somebody like that on the ticket. That has been used. Okay. And it's a significant concern, something that they have to think through, something that delegates have to think through. All right. So that is something that Bawumia has to carry. Then, of course, there's Kennedy Ohene Japan, who also has to carry the burden of, well, he's not your regular politician, known to speak his mind, albeit sometimes in very, very... Nathan, give me a kind word.
Very worrying.
No, I don't think so, but I think that...
Very unconventional.
Well, perhaps, but he's an interesting politician in the sense that he sometimes doesn't know how to read the room, and sometimes doesn't know...
Lacks a bit of tact.
Yeah, exactly. Subtlety and tact is not his thing. Most times, for how he operates. So again, it's that test for the delegates. You weigh these two. Which one do you want?
Okay.
I've heard interesting takes on this from people who say, well, Ken's style is brand new. They want to test that because we've had a feel of these kind of politicians who are the regular. Okay, so why don't we push and give that kind of take? And then there's also Dr. Usefri Akoto. His has been very interesting, let me put it that way, in how he has focused extensively on what he can do to make party members happy and delegates happy. I will do this, we will do this for the party. He has highlighted that a lot, in what he has said. As to whether that gives him, improves his chances tomorrow, which I don't think he has any. Time will tell, but in the end, overall, in my estimation, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia starts as favorite tomorrow. We will see what the margins look like and what they say about what people think about him.
Interesting. Still listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. Richard, the last guy is here. Samens has joined us. Samens, good morning.
Morning.
very interesting. Tomorrow really is a big day for
I don't
the
have
NPP.
much to say on that one.
Okay.
I don't have Sky and Godfred who have the ability to analyze. I don't analyze.
Okay.
All I know is that Baumia will win, just one touch win, and then we go to church on Sunday. Then we go on with our lives.
No drama. No.
No. I mean, what I know is what I'm saying. I haven't analyzed anything. But what I know is that he will win the thing, and then Sunday we'll go to church, then Monday we'll come to work, and life goes on. Then we continue with our appeal for the,
that's all.
you know.
Richard, this morning I played the voice of I played the voice of Honorable Frank Anodon MP for Insawan Madoji. He says Dr. Baumia will win by 95%.
Ghanaians love drama too much. He say he's not a regular politician. Kennedy Japan is not a regular politician, but per his own credentials as his claim. He says he's responsible for this. He has done this for Central. He has done, and it's not for regular politicians. No. I think his entry into the race was not expected. But no, he's a regular. He's a core politician, and he ticks all the boxes of a politician.
Okay.
You know, his method, not what we have always known.
That is where the issue is.
Yeah, his method, you know, but. In Nigeria, these things do happen. The sitting president of Nigeria, whoever thought that he will end up wanting to put himself up? He's been a financier par excellence for many regimes. You understand? So it's just what it is. I mean, people.
So for us, it's a little new.
That's what I'm saying. That people get to a place of comfort that generates confidence for them to move to higher heights, and it's a legitimate thing to do. But that by itself doesn't create way for you that because of that, then no. Baumia will still win. I mean, I don't have a vote.
About 95%. Because Honorable Frank
I don't know that one. As for that, I can't say. But what I can say is that there will not be a need for a second round. It won't happen.
I see.
Maybe Sky has different notes. But what I have, no.
Sky, Godfrey talks about the fact that two things really will matter to the delegates. The welfare of the party and maybe by extension themselves as delegates and the 2024 elections. Which of the two do you think is more important to the delegates and the party?
Take it again.
So Godfrey was making a point. He said that for a lot of the delegates, they'll be concerned by two things. One, the bankability of a candidate to potentially win them the next election. And then the party's welfare generally. So unity, coming together, and then just the general welfare of delegates. Because Godfrey makes a point about Dr. Frie's campaign. He's focused on that. So I'm asking, what do you think that of the two, which one, is it the welfare of the party or the success at the polls? Which of these two things will matter to the delegates who vote tomorrow?
I think you can't put any of them above the other.
Okay.
The reason being that you would expect that these two would work together for the success of their party. Because at the end of the day, political parties are in the business of campaigning for votes, using their membership and people who believe in their causes, and then hoping to grab power and to execute that which they promise the people.
Okay.
Now, if you have a vehicle that is weak, by which I mean if you have party membership that is disgruntled, that is not happy, the grassroots are not happy with what's happening at the top, that ultimately affects how the party performs, because these are the people who have to knock on doors in the various constituencies, in the various wards, in the various assemblies, asking people to turn out in their numbers and vote.
Okay.
But where they are disgruntled and they are not happy about how the affairs of state are being run, and they decide not to exercise their power to go out there and campaign for the party, it hurts the party badly. And anytime you see apathy of party people set in, it affects how the party performs and ultimately undermines how they campaign for the presidential election or the parliamentary the seat. So party loyalists and how they feel about affairs is an important matter. And whoever wins has a responsibility, because of course we cannot pretend that it is not happening. So many party people are not happy with how the leadership of state appears to have not lived up to what they said they were going to do.
Okay.
And therefore, it would take a lot of doing to actually get them to rally around whoever ultimately emerges as the flag bearer of the party.
Okay.
The second one, which you spoke about, has got to do with what? The person to make it.
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
And then also the bankability of that
of that candidate.
Now, I mean, if you look at the scene, I would say that some of the candidates have conducted themselves very well.
Okay.
And in so doing, they have maintained a certain respect around their name, their candidature, and respect for the NPP itself. As I said much earlier this morning, I think, with the greatest respect, this was the most acrimonious,
ever
campaign ever. It was as if there was no respect for the people who were misconducting themselves. They were not respecting themselves.
Okay.
And then they were not respecting party rules, because the party's constitution makes it clear that where you do something that brings the party's image into disrepute, the rules or the rule book can be thrown at you, in which case it is possible to either suspend you or to remove you from the party entirely. Which rule book has been invoked previously, where people were sent home for lesser offenses? But in this particular campaign, we've seen very vile things said openly and publicly without any repercussions. Vile things were said publicly without any let or hindrance, and the party did not flinch. And I do not believe that the party of BJ Darocha, the party of Jacob Tanka Obeche Belamte of blessed memory, all these two, I mean, former Speaker Peter Lajete, these were stalwarts who insisted on party discipline, and they did not care who you were, whether you brought $1 billion or $1 trillion, or whether you were down there. Anytime you infringe the rules, they were willing and ready to throw the rule book at you. But for some reason, it would seem that the current leadership of the party, with the greatest respect to them, although they may have fine minds or they may have the best of intentions, in terms of how they work towards ensuring party's discipline, I do not think that they have carried that well. They ought to have cracked the whip at the very beginning to let people know that there is no one within the party bigger than the party. Because at the end of the day, if you want to lead the NPP, you want to ensure that regardless of the challenges you have had governing this country over the past 7 years, whether people think rightly or wrongly that you have done a good job or you have not done a good job, you need a certain assurance that the people are with you, and that you do not end up damaging the vehicle you want to use to win an election. But if you look at it, I mean, look at the things that were said publicly. The kinds of things that you do not expect people to say about their own party and people seeking to lead them.
You mentioned the acrimony. I just want to ask this. You mentioned the lack of leadership also. Could it also be the personalities involved in the race? Because if you go back, say, to 2007, there were 17 people. But you're saying, so from what you're saying, I can we deduce that it wasn't acrimonious then?
No.
But it's taking on a different turn now.
No.
So what can we boil it down to? Is it lack of leadership or the characters in the campaign?
You see, first of all, the person who is misconducting himself or the people misconducting themselves must respect themselves first.
Okay.
Because if you want to be president, it is not all about people following you and cheering you on, or you have money, or that you are from a certain part of the country, or you have a certain religious grouping behind you. You first of all must conduct yourself in a way as to appeal to people who would say that, oh, yes, you may not be doing the right things in government, but I feel proud that you are my president or you are my leader. Yes, Donald Trump he became president. But many Americans felt that he did not represent
what they believed in.
Yeah, what the presidency should look
stood
like.
for, yes.
You understand? So you may not be NDC or you may not be NPP, but the person who is leading you, there should be a certain aura of respect. Do you understand? You may speak the truth, but the way you communicate the truth, does that showcase a certain sense of nobility?
Okay.
Or do you violate the bliss of sanctity that should surround the office of Flagbearer or office of President of the Republic? So these things would inform the choices that level-headed people will make ultimately. And mind you, the level-headed people, they constitute a critical mass within the middle who would determine in one way or the other how this thing goes. So yes, Dr. Baumia may have been the head of economic management team. People are angry that the economy hasn't been run properly and he should take the blame. But if you look at the people contesting, who is more likely to run a government that even if people are not happy about the performance of the government, they still can feel that, oh, we are proud that this person is the face of the NPP or this person is the face of government. I think that's a decision that people will make on Saturday. And I think it's also important that when party people are making the choice, you don't want a candidate who it is easy to tell people that this one don't go near him.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
First of all, if you want to give power to somebody, ask yourself, the person without power, how does he behave? Do you understand? The authority of President of the Republic is a very important, critical responsibility. It comes with a lot of responsibility. You can make decisions that will change people's lives in a billion ways. So you need someone with a certain temperament, someone with a certain respect for both himself and the office.
I see.
I believe that when it comes down to it, I think it's obvious who amongst the 4 people contesting have conducted themselves well, and who have not. And I'm not going to sit here and call out people, but I think I have made enough submissions as to indicate that, look, I may not like person A or person B, but when it comes to who should lead us, the Republic of Ghana, there should be a certain sense of decorum, a blaze of sanctity around that person and the position he seeks to occupy. We've seen Jerry Rawlings. He had his own flaws, but he had his own, respect for the institution. Even where he was angry and was talking about affairs of state and how people were misbehaving, he kept it within a certain, distance of decorum.
Okay.
We've seen John Kufuor, a fine gentleman, handled affairs of state in a very gentlemanly and responsible way. He set a certain standard as to how a president of Ghana should look like. We saw John Mills, one of the finest brains we've ever had. Of course, his health, didn't help him ultimately. I mean, if he was healthy, I believe that he would have been one of the finest presidents we would have ever had because of his respect for fellow human beings. Even if it was difficult, he always said, oh, maybe when the party people were pushing him, do this, he said, oh, no. Let's behave in a certain way. And then we have seen Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Yes, he may not have done things the way some people wanted, but a certain respect is around the institution of presidency. Although he may have misspoken a few times and said things that people didn't like. But he will go out there, all guns blazing, just blasting, attacking everybody. I think he has shown a certain maturity.
Only a few.
You understand? So I think that the people who are taking the decision tomorrow should ask themselves,
okay,
what do they want for the NPP? Of course, there's a big question out there. Yes, we will choose. But the person we are choosing, is he capable of winning the presidency for us? And I believe that they are educated enough to make a decision that is not only in their interest, but is in the interest of both the party and the Republic of Ghana. Because at the end of the day, we are seeking as a people to have a leader that reflects who we are as Ghanaians. And whether NDC or NPP, again, we saw John Dramani Mahama.
Yes.
I mean, one of the calmest and most brilliant men to have ever occupied the presidency. Of course, his performance, which led to his exit from government, is a matter for debate out there. And people make, brilliant submissions that, on hindsight, I think people were overly harsh on him. But he, apart from the time that he said, dead goat, I mean, he generally conducted himself in a truly responsible way as president. Of course, he may have made some mistakes here and there, which form the basis of what people said around him. But he showed a certain class, So the next leader for the NPP should be measured in those terms, and let us not create room for Ghana to become a laughing stock. It is important that the party people make a decision that will help people to move towards them, even if they are not happy with what the NPP has done over the last 7 years or so. They will still maintain some people. But if it is one that creates acrimony around the party, I honestly believe that, I mean, people should reject that. So I would I will leave it there.
Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep.
6 minutes after 9, still listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. Your messages are welcome on 0549 986 996. Some messages have come in. Godfred, let's go through some of the messages.
Please tell Richard that no matter what he says about Ken, it won't wash.
Hey, I beg you, please.
Somebody says that.
Please.
I hasn't mentioned anybody's name.
I've not mentioned anybody's name. I'm capable of saying what I feel like saying.
But I haven't mentioned anybody's name.
I have made my submissions this morning in a truly measured way, and I have not mentioned anybody's name.
Okay, don't worry.
So I beg you, ignore messages like that. I'm capable of saying what I want to say.
I believe in what Godfred said last time, that there's a leadership crisis in the NPP. All of the aspirants are below par, and that makes Ken the best option. Okay. Prince Henry, good morning. The question I keep asking is why the patriarchy is not disciplining Kennedy Japan for some of the comments he has said in the run-up to this. The current NPP leadership has set a bad precedent. This is Prince Henry from Kofodia who has sent in that message. So tomorrow, and Citi FM, Citi TV,
yes, we'll be
covering this extensively. All the way so stay tuned. Analysis, everything up until the results. I'm told that the procedure are such that by 2:00 voting should be done according to what I've been told, and then by 4 p.m. an announcement would have been made on who has won this. So
that we can go on with our lives.
And collect our
but will you?
We can go on with our lives.
Very much.